BBC News with Sue Montgomery. Hamas says a second group of 13 Israelis and 7 foreign nationals held hostage in Gaza have been handed to the Red Cross for transfer to Israel. Israel and Qatar, acting as a mediator, have both given a lower figure of 4 for the number of foreign nationals said to be from Thailand. Israel's military says the ICRC has all 13 Israeli hostages, and TV pictures showed ICRC vehicles leaving the Gaza Strip and entering Egypt through Rafah. The releases come after a delay of several hours. The delay came as Hamas accused Israel of breaching its part of the 4-day truce agreement, an accusation Israel denied. Tom Bateman explains what will happen next.
What happened last night was they're taken to a facility by the Egyptians, and at that point they're received by the Israelis. And that's the moment that it is confirmed then by the Israelis that they have received the hostages, and that sort of triggers the next part of the process, which is a number by a multiple of 3 of Palestinian prisoners are then released from the Offa military courts complex in the occupied West Bank by Israel. That happened really quickly last night. I mean, pretty much as soon as there was confirmation on the Israeli side.
Our correspondent in the occupied West Bank, Lucy Williamson, has more details of the 39 Palestinian detainees to be released.
From the list that we've received, it seems there are 6 women and 33 minors, of which 1 we believe is female, the rest are male. And we know that most of the people on that list of 300 prisoners that the releases are being chosen from, most of those are teenage boys.
A Palestinian militant group in the occupied West Bank has executed 2 men accused of collaborating with Israel. The Tulkarm Brigade hung their bodies in public as a warning to others. It accused the men of complicity in the deaths of 3 Palestinian fighters. Tens of thousands of people have taken to the streets of Italy's main cities in protest at the recent murder of a university student. The Colosseum was lit in red to commemorate victims of domestic violence. Prosecutors believe the student was killed by her ex-boyfriend days before she was due to graduate. Here's Clizia Sala.
Across the country, people are taking part in sit-ins, flash mobs and marches to remember Giulia Cecchettin. Her ex-boyfriend Filippo Turetta fled to Germany after her killing, but was returned to Italy on Saturday. The protesters blame entrenched patriarchal attitudes for large numbers of women's deaths in Italy. Government figures show that this year alone, more than 50 women have allegedly been killed by a partner or ex-partner.
BBC News. The authorities in the southern Indian state of Kerala say at least 4 university students have died in a crowd crush at a music concert. They said nearly 60 were injured at the festival held at the Cochin University. Local media said the auditorium was already packed when hundreds of students waiting outside rushed in to avoid a sudden downpour. Tailors specialising in making women's clothes have reportedly held a protest in the Afghan city of Herat after Taliban officials forced them to shut their shops. The demonstrators said the Taliban's Vice and Virtue Department told them to stop stitching dresses. Anbara Sanatarajan reports.
One of the tailors told Afghan media that regional Taliban leaders had already imposed strict conditions such as banning women entering tailoring shops and barring men from taking women's measurements. Businesses were told to remove women's changing rooms and even so far as to restrict conversations between female clients and shop owners. Now, the tailors complain they are being ordered to stop making women's clothes altogether. One of them said it made it even harder to make a living in Afghanistan, where there is widespread poverty and high rates of unemployment.
Mali's security forces say they've repelled 2 attacks in the north of the country by an Islamist group which has links to Al-Qaeda. The militants claim to have killed dozens of soldiers and seized an army base in the Timbuktu region. A new report says large advances in energy efficiency in cars have been partly offset by growing demand for larger vehicles. The study suggests the substantial impact cars have on climate change could have dropped by 30% over the past decade if it weren't for this trend. The study urges a renewed focus on electric cars. BBC News.